There is a secret woven into the fabric of reality itself, a code so old, so powerful, that entire civilizations have risen on its understanding. And today, you are going to discover why certain groups of people have historically attracted wealth with what seems like supernatural ease. Neville Goddard, the mystic who decoded the Bible as a psychological blueprint, revealed something shocking. The answer is not in their rituals. It is not in their traditions. It is in their relationship with the invisible force that creates worlds, the force you have been ignoring, the force you call imagination. Right now, you might be working harder than ever, yet wealth feels distant. You see others prosper while you struggle. You wonder what they know that you do not. You are about to find out. Because what Neville Goddard discovered about biblical prosperity will shatter every belief you have been carrying about money, success, and your place in this abundant universe. This is not theory. This is the law. And by the end of this transmission, you will understand why choosing yourself is the only prosperity code you will ever need. For centuries, people have observed a pattern. Jewish families, Jewish entrepreneurs, Jewish bankers dominating industries. The stereotype became so widespread that conspiracy theories emerged. People blamed external factors, nepotism, secret networks, hidden agendas. But Neville Goddard looked deeper. He saw past the surface noise into the metaphysical machinery underneath. The truth has nothing to do with bloodlines. It has everything to do with consciousness. Neville taught that when the Bible speaks of Jews, it is not speaking about a race or ethnicity in the way modern minds understand. It is speaking about a state of consciousness, a disciplined imagination, a mind trained to assume the wish fulfilled before evidence appears. Listen carefully. You have been conditioned to wait for permission. You wait for the market to shift. You wait for opportunities to arrive. You wait for approval from systems that were never designed to serve you. This waiting is your poverty. This hesitation is your lack. You have been taught to react to circumstances instead of creating them. The reason you do not have wealth is simple. You have not claimed it in consciousness first. You move through life as a beggar, hoping for scraps instead of a sovereign ruling over infinite supply. Neville Goddard said this plainly in his lecture, The Law and the Promise. He declared that assumption, though false if persisted in, will harden into fact. But you do not persist. You assume poverty every time you check your bank account with dread. You assume limitation every time you say you cannot afford something. You are a perfect manifester. You are manifesting exactly what you assume to be true. The Jewish mystical tradition understood this long before Neville decoded it for modern seekers. The Kabbalah itself means to receive, not to earn, not to deserve, to receive. This is the first shift required. Wealth is not achieved. Wealth is accepted. You are standing in an infinite ocean of substance, yet you hold a thimble and wonder why you are thirsty. You have been living as an effect instead of a cause. You have been reacting to your world instead of impressing upon it your desired state. Neville learned this from his teacher, a mysterious Ethiopian rabbi named Abdullah. This man taught Neville the inner meaning of Scripture. He taught him that the Bible is not history, it is psychology. Every character is a state of consciousness. Every story is an instruction manual for the human imagination. And when Abdullah told Neville that he was the God the Bible speaks of, Neville resisted. He argued. He doubted. Until he tested the law and discovered it was true. You are doing the same thing now. You are resisting your own divinity. You are comfortable with limitation because it requires nothing from you. But the moment you accept that your imagination is the creative power of the universe, everything changes. You can no longer blame circumstances. You can no longer hide behind excuses. You become responsible for every condition in your life. And that responsibility is your liberation. Abdullah was not gentle with Neville. He did not coddle him. When Neville came to him wanting to travel to Barbados but lacking money, Abdullah did not offer sympathy. He did not tell Neville to work harder or save more. He looked at him and said, "You are in Barbados." And every time Neville protested about his lack of funds, Abdullah repeated the same words, "You are in Barbados." This was not positive thinking. This was not affirmation. This was assumption. Abdullah was instructing Neville to enter the state of the wish fulfilled and remain there regardless of external evidence. And Neville did. He walked as though he were already in Barbados. He felt the reality of it. And within days, circumstances shifted in ways he could not have orchestrated. Money appeared, obstacles dissolved. The bridge of incidents constructed itself. This is the secret you have been seeking. The Jewish tradition that Neville decoded teaches that the name of God is I am, not I will be, not I hope to be. I am. In Hebrew, this is Yod He Vav He, the sacred tetragrammaton. It is not a name you speak outward. It is the name you speak inward. It is the declaration of your own being. Every time you say I am, you are calling forth the creative power of the universe. When you say I am broke, you command poverty. When you say I am unworthy, you command rejection. When you say I am rich, when you say I am blessed, when you say I am divinely guided, you command those states into manifestation. Neville said it clearly. I am is the name of God. You are what you claim to be. The reason certain cultures have attracted wealth historically is not because of genetics or secret networks. It is because their mystical traditions preserved this understanding. The Kabbalah teaches that the universe is a field of infinite receiving, that the divine mind is always saying yes, that you are not separate from Source. You are the point through which Source flows into form. But you have been taught separation. You have been taught that God is distant, that abundance must be earned through suffering, that you must prove yourself worthy. These are lies that keep you in bondage. Neville demolished these lies. He stood before audiences and declared that your imagination is God, that the kingdom of heaven is within, that you do not need permission from any external authority to claim your good. In his book, Feeling is the Secret, Neville wrote that sleep is the door through which the subconscious mind is impressed. Before sleep, when your conscious mind releases control, you can plant seeds in the fertile soil of your deeper mind. This is when you impress your desired state, not by force, not by repetition of empty words, by feeling, by occupying the state so completely that your nervous system believes it is real. The Jewish mystical practice of blessing is rooted in this same principle. You do not bless your money to appease an external deity. You bless your money to change your relationship with it. You sanctify it. You acknowledge its divine source. You remove the shame and fear you have associated with it. Money becomes sacred when you recognize it as energy, as condensed consciousness, as proof that infinite intelligence is moving through your life. Joseph Murphy, a student of the same tradition, taught that the infinite storehouse is within you, that you do not attract wealth from outside, you release it from within. Every dollar you receive is simply the visible form of an invisible substance that has always been yours. But you cannot access this substance while vibrating at the frequency of lack. Now, we arrive at the core mechanism, the law of assumption. This is not a suggestion, this is not a philosophy, this is law, as reliable as gravity, as consistent as mathematics. Neville Goddard spent his entire life proving this law. He tested it thousands of times. He taught it to audiences who then proved it themselves. And the law never failed. Here is how it works. Whatever you assume to be true about yourself and your world becomes true. not because the universe rewards good thoughts, not because you deserve it, but because consciousness is the only reality. Your outer world is the hardened fact of your inner assumptions. Change the assumption and the outer world must conform. Most people reverse this process. They look at their bank account and assume poverty. They look at their job and assume limitation. They look at their circumstances and let those circumstances dictate their inner state. This is backwards. This is why they remain stuck. They are trying to change the reflection without changing what stands before the mirror. Neville taught that you must live in the end. You must think from your desire fulfilled, not of your desire fulfilled. This distinction is everything. When you think of your desire, you are acknowledging separation. You are saying it is out there, away from me. But when you think from your desire, you are occupying that state. You are it. You are not hoping to become rich. You are rich now, inwardly, and the outer world is catching up. The disciplined imagination is what Neville called the true Jew. Not a race, not a religion. A state of consciousness that refuses to accept current evidence as final. That looks at lack and declares abundance anyway. That sees limitation and assumes freedom. This is the chosen people. Chosen because they choose themselves. Chosen because they align with the law instead of fighting it. You must become ruthless with your mental diet. Neville spoke often about this. Every thought is a seed. Every assumption is an investment. You cannot afford to entertain thoughts of failure and expect success. You cannot speak lack and expect abundance. Your words are not meaningless. Your thoughts are not neutral. They are commands issued to the creative force of your own consciousness. Here is a technique Neville taught. At night before sleep, construct a scene that implies your wish fulfilled. If you desire wealth, do not imagine yourself receiving money. Imagine the natural result of having money. See yourself in the home you would own. Feel the texture of the sheets in that home. Hear the sounds, make it sensory, make it real, and loop this scene until you fall asleep in it. Why does this work? Because your subconscious mind does not distinguish between imagined and real. It accepts what you feed it. And when you impress your subconscious with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, it begins to reorganize your entire reality to match that impression. Doors open, people appear, opportunities arise. Not by magic, by law. The Kabbalistic teaching of receiving aligns perfectly with this. You are not manifesting something outside yourself. You are unveiling what already exists in consciousness. The infinite intelligence that spoke worlds into existence is your own awareness. You are not separate from it. You are it, localized. And when you claim wealth in consciousness, you are not creating something new. You are selecting it from infinite possibilities. Neville often quoted William Blake, who said, "All that you behold, though it appears without, it is within in your imagination, of which this world of mortality is but a shadow." This is the foundation. The visible world is effect. Consciousness is cause. Reverse your understanding of this and you gain dominion over your life. Now let us bring this ancient wisdom into your immediate reality. You live in a world of bills, expenses, responsibilities. You need practical results. Neville Goddard was not teaching escapism. He was teaching mastery, and every principle he revealed can be applied today, in this economy, in this moment. Joseph Murphy expanded on these teachings in The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. He taught that your subconscious is like fertile soil. It does not judge seeds. It grows whatever you plant. If you plant fear, you harvest disaster. If you plant faith, you harvest miracles. Murphy said that the infinite storehouse is always open, that divine supply is limitless. But you must approach it with expectation, not desperation. Here is where most people fail. They affirm abundance while feeling lack. They visualize wealth while their body vibrates with anxiety. They say they believe while their actions scream doubt. Neville called this attempting to serve two masters. You cannot assume wealth and act from poverty. You cannot claim divine supply and hoard out of fear. Your assumption must be total. Let us talk about blessing your money. In the Jewish tradition, blessing food before eating it sanctifies the meal. It transforms consumption into communion. The same principle applies to money. When you receive money, bless it, not to a distant God, but to the infinite intelligence within you. Say silently, "This money is blessed. It flows to me easily. It multiplies in circulation. I am a channel of divine abundance." This is not superstition. This is reconditioning your nervous system. You are removing the shame, fear, and guilt you have associated with money. You are reframing it as energy, as proof that you are divinely supported. And when you bless money as it leaves your hands, you are affirming circulation instead of loss. You are declaring that more is always coming. Neville taught that the test of your assumption is how you feel about your desire. If you desire wealth but feel anxious when you think about money, your assumption is not wealth. It is lack. If you desire love but feel lonely when you imagine relationships, your assumption is not love. It is separation. You must shift your feeling first. The feeling is the secret. Here is a powerful exercise. For the next 7 days, refuse to speak lack. Refuse to complain about money. Refuse to acknowledge limitation. This does not mean you ignore bills. It means you handle them from a state of abundance. You pay them knowing more is coming. You manage your finances as a wealthy person would. You move through your day as someone who is divinely provided for. Watch what happens. You will notice opportunities you previously overlooked. You will receive ideas that lead to income. You will encounter people who open doors. This is not luck. This is law. You shifted your assumption, and reality reorganized itself to match. The concept of being chosen is misunderstood. It does not mean you are better than others. It means you choose yourself. You choose to align with infinite intelligence. You choose to assume you're good instead of waiting for permission. You choose to live from the end instead of reacting to the middle. This is the prosperity code. This is the secret Neville Goddard revealed. Abdullah taught Neville that the Bible is your biography. Every story is happening in consciousness. Abraham leaving his homeland is you leaving behind old beliefs. Moses crossing the Red Sea is you crossing from slavery to freedom. The promised land is not a place. It is a state of consciousness, and you enter it by assumption. You now possess the understanding that entire lineages have guarded. You know that imagination is God. You know that assumption hardens into fact. You know that you are not a victim of circumstances, but the creator of them. The question is no longer what is possible. The question is, what will you assume? Neville Goddard spent his life proving that ordinary people could perform what others call miracles. He healed himself. He manifested wealth. He transformed relationships. He traveled the world teaching this law. And everywhere he went, people tested it and found it true. Not because Neville was special, but because the law is impersonal. It works for everyone who applies it. The Jewish mystical tradition preserved this truth through centuries of persecution and dispersion. Not because they were chosen by an external God, but because they chose to remember. They chose to discipline their imagination. They chose to assume the wish fulfilled even when evidence contradicted it. And that assumption became their protection, their provision, their power. You stand at the threshold of the same transformation. You can continue living as a reactor, blown by circumstances, hoping for change. Or you can step into your role as creator. You can assume the state of wealth, health, love, success. You can think from the end instead of towards it. You can become the disciplined imagination that Neville called the true Jew. This is not about religion. This is not about culture. This is about consciousness. This is about recognizing that the infinite intelligence that creates galaxies is the same awareness looking through your eyes right now. You are not separate from divine mind. You are divine mind experiencing itself in human form. And when you claim that power, when you assume your divinity, everything changes. Before you go, understand this. You are not alone on this journey. This channel exists to remind you of who you are, to decode the mystical principles that have been hidden in plain sight, to guide you back to your own power. Subscribe to the Goddard Code. Join this community of awakened creators who refuse to accept limitation as final. Every video here is designed to deepen your understanding, to strengthen your assumption, to help you live from the state of the wish fulfilled. You have been searching for the secret. You have found it. Now comes the practice. Now comes the persistence. Now comes the proof. Neville Goddard left you with this truth. He said it countless times in lectures, in books, in private conversations. He said it with absolute certainty because he had tested it beyond doubt. And he would want you to hear it now, in this moment, as you prepare to step into your new assumption. Your imagination is God himself. There is no other God. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and observe the route that your world takes to fulfill that assumption. You are the operant power. You are the Lord of your reality. Live in the end, persist in the assumption, and watch as your outer world conforms to your inner conviction. This is the code. This is the law. This is your inheritance. Claim it now.